What's up, everybody? I'm here with my guy DECAP. We're at his Hollywood Hills home studio. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Thanks for inviting me in. Super nice place, man. The views, the scents, the gear, and everything. You recently moved in. How's it treating you?
Man, it's amazing. I've wanted to be in LA for a while, so like being here now, planting my roots and just being in a space that just reflects me, reflects my vibe, my creativity. It's really good and it's only the beginning. So this is like a new chapter and it's feeling good.
Nice, man. Nice. So, like, where you are originally from? You recently, like, you're rooted now in LA, but where are you originally from?
So I'm originally from just north of Boston, Mass, in a place called Nashua, New Hampshire. So that's where I
Mm,
grew up. Went to school there and moved to the West Coast a while ago. So I've been out on the
mm.
West Coast for a while, but just recently in LA.
Gotcha. And then obviously, I know LA is that city or whatever, but what really makes you want to live in LA? Like, what drew you here?
Man, the weather, the food, just the culture, and basically in our industry, just everyone who does music happens to be here, and just
Mhm,
the overall vibes are incredible. Like the weather's amazing year round. Any cuisine you want. I'm a foodie,
mhm,
so I love trying new food, and
mhm.
it feels good to be in the mix, like sunshine every day. Oh, another LA day. Like it's
Mhm. Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
beautiful
Yeah.
weather.
Yep, yep.
And being from the East Coast, the weather was not like this.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it feels
As
good.
as someone born and raised in LA, Decap, he's my food guy, bro. I trust him. He's the one who puts me onto the brunch. But like you live in a place you don't really explore as much, and then someone who doesn't come from there, they do the exploring. So I've actually got so many brunch spots and so many different restaurants and shit, all from this guy right here, and
Yeah.
I appreciate that, bro. For real.
Absolutely, man. And brunch is my thing too. Like
Yeah.
if it's before 5 o'clock, I'm not eating anything but brunch. 5
No.
p.m. that is.
Nah, this dude's crazy. We had
Yeah.
brunch today at 12. I'm like, are you sure that's brunch? But
Yeah, absolutely. That's an early brunch for me.
it was delicious. But yeah, let's talk about just how you got into music because you are a legend. Your Drums That Knock series is probably the most popular drum kit series, probably of all time. You definitely just even from the early days of like your own website to now like Splice and everything, topping the charts on Splice and everything. So talk about how you got into music, were you just making beats, rapping, whatever, and then what led you to sound design?
Yeah, it all started just being a fan of hip hop, like just hearing artists that moved me. Like when I was a kid, listening to Wu Tang or listening
Hmm.
to The Roots or Gangstar or Dr. Dre and Snoop. Like listening to that just motivated me, and it just made me feel something. So it was kind of natural that I would start to make it and
Hmm.
create it. So being from the East Coast, I used to watch MTV, and I recently found the stash at my parents' house of VHS tapes.
Mm.
I used to go in the basement, and because we had cable TV in the basement,
Hmm.
and hit record every time I saw a video I liked. So I had a collection of 20 VHS tapes, each one 6 hours long,
Damn.
with like all the videos I liked. So I just spent time like before I did this move going through all my stuff at my parents and everything, and just moving
Mhm.
everything out to LA. And I found a stash of about 20 plus MTV tape recordings, and I
Damn.
digitized them all. So I have them all on my computer with all the ads from MTV and everything.
That's fire, dude.
Yeah. So that was like my early beginning. Like even before I started buying tapes or CDs, I used to just record off of MTV, and that's how I got my music. And that brought me into eventually trying to rap. I was in like a rap group, and we needed beats. So I used to I bought like an SP 202, or I got for my birthday an SP 202
Mhm.
and the HR-16 drum machine and the Tascam Porta 2 that I was showing you, the 4 track.
Mhm.
And I used to make beats for this rap group I was in. And so they would jump on and cut vocals over my beats, and then I had a love for making beats. And so I started making beats, and eventually like I started out horrible at making beats
Mhm.
and then I got
As we
good.
all do, as we all
Yeah.
do.
I think nowadays there's just so much more information out there
Mm-hmm.
to get good fairly quick, but I didn't have access to any of that. So I was going on
Mm-hmm.
forums and, trying to figure it out. And eventually it just like I started being like I can make money from this. And so I started, working with artists, selling beats, and I sold my first 4 beats. I sold 4 beats for $50. So that was
Hey,
$12.50 per beat.
hey, big
And I
money.
big money. I was so happy. I think I was in ninth grade when that went down.
Mm-hmm. That's fire, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, at what point did you? Because I know, like, you've been in the game for a long time now, and I'm sure, like, just having access to drum sounds and stuff like that wasn't as common. I mean, obviously today we got drum sounds galore. We got too
Yeah.
many drum sounds. So, from making beats and all that kind of stuff, what got you into just creating your own drum sounds?
Yeah, and to give the full picture, like when I first started making beats, it was kind of more a thing. Drums were every producer kept a secret. So like Timbaland, Dr. Dre,
Mm-hmm.
the Neptunes, like all of them at the time when I first started, like they had their own secret stash. And so there
Mm-hmm.
was no sharing, there was no drum kits. So
Mm-hmm.
how I used to get my drums back then was digging through old vinyl or
Mm.
old like CDs that had break beats and that type of thing. Chop the
Mm-hmm.
break beats and remake it. So that's how I did it when I first started. And then
Mm-hmm.
once I started posting on internet forums, there was this forum called Underground Hip Hop where I
Mm-hmm.
met like M Phases, Illmind, DA Got That Dope, Frank Dukes.
Mm-hmm.
All of us would share beats online. And we used to there was this thing called a drum exchange, and Bullyfinger, everyone, we used to exchange drum sounds, the whole like forum. And we
Mm-hmm.
used to do like something called a Thanksgiving exchange. Everyone would put their drums in there.
Fire.
And then there was someone named Croup who was
Mm-hmm.
one of the first, I mean, from what I remember, Sounds for Samplers, Croup. They started making sample packs with drums, and then
Mm-hmm.
Illmind did it, and his stuff went crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then around that time, a little bit after, I realized like one thing that was lacking in drum kits because they were already kind of a thing before I started.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized that they were inconsistent. Like the volume levels were different. They didn't feel like they had an identity. So I tried to, make a pack where all the drums knocked. So that was my
Mm-hmm.
thing. Like there was a lot of cool stuff out there, but I wanted to do one pack where every sound hit hard. So a
Fire.
producer could just load it up and it would immediately just knock. And when I did that, it just started popping off, and then people started using it, and it surprised me to see that happen.
Fire, dude.
And then I
Yeah.
just went full force with it.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Cause even then, like I think just my generation, I feel like we probably had it just so easy, dude. Like even when I started, it was already there. Everything was already there. I think I started with like, on my phone or like an iPod or something, and there was, the sounds were all built in. But you've kind of like you were early on and you've pretty much built like an empire. So I guess I want to hear just like how were you started with one, two, I think how many have you done by now?
10.
10. So
Yep.
you're up to Drums That Knock Volume 10 now.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about the transition from you selling it all on your own and then when Splice came around, like how was that for you?
It was great. At first I started out just on a little web store. It was called Selfie or
Mm-hmm.
Selfie. And I would just upload the pack, and I just made a link, drumsthatknock.com, and
Mm-hmm.
people would go to the site and buy it. And then eventually I switched to Shopify, and
Mm-hmm.
also did a deal with Splice, and they started hosting my sounds, and they still do.
Mm-hmm.
And I put out 10 packs,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah.
And it's like what was the record, dude? Like on Splice, it was like how many weeks were you number one? And which pack was that? Was that 9 or 10?
So every single pack I dropped, I believe at least like the last 7 all hit number one, and
Mm-hmm.
all was at number one for a good amount of time. I think volume 10 was number one for like 25 weeks or something like that. It
Crazy,
just
yeah,
went
something
it
crazy.
went crazy. So yeah, I and really I just stayed consistent with the theme, drums that knock, and it
Mhm.
all kind of, the inspiration behind it, you know, being a fan of hip hop and
Mhm.
the stuff I listen to, the drums just smack in hip hop. It's
Mhm.
what it's supposed to
Yeah.
be. And
Facts.
so being moved by that since I was a little kid, the energy of hard hitting drums, I wanted
Mhm.
to bring that into my production. I didn't
Yeah.
even make the packs for others. I made them for
Mhm.
me.
Yeah.
And then putting it out there, it resonated. So
Yeah.
I kind of stumbled on a thing.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I was gonna say like having 10 of them. Is it like a thing where each one you're trying to do something different, or like how do you? I'm sure you've made like fucking thousands of kicks and thousands of snares. Like by the 10th pack, how are you still coming up with new sounding snares or new sounding whatever?
Well, the thing is, when I make sounds, I make sure every sound is new and it's
Mhm.
unique. It's designed from scratch. So I do synthesis, whether it be an Ableton or a hardware synth. So anytime you make a sound, there's no two sounds can be exactly the same.
Mhm.
So it has to do with the way I process it, the way, like, am I using a sine wave, triangle wave? What am I adding on as a top layer?
Mhm.
So I just go with my inspiration because I find that I don't think too hard about it. I just make
Mhm.
the stuff I want to use for my own stuff. So
Mhm.
my test is if I make something and I like it, then I would think that maybe someone else would like it. So I
Mhm.
just put out the stuff that I would like.
That's fire. That's
Yeah.
fire. So I guess also again, like going back to the earlier kits, how you're saying all this stuff, but like if you're doing synthesis and stuff,
Yeah.
how did you even get into that? How do you learn in that time when there's barely any packs being sold? How did you even learn how to make it? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of the early days was just mostly like what, like the drums that people would get from the vinyls. So
Exactly.
like, how'd you get into actually just making the sounds from scratch?
So it was an interesting thing because Drums That Knock started because I was in conversations with producers, and
Mm-hmm.
producers were having the mostly hip hop producers that I know,
Mm-hmm.
and guys in the industry who are, you know, doing it at a high level. Like, they would start comparing Ableton versus FL,
Mm-hmm.
and they would be like, yo, DECAP, what's up with Ableton? Why does it not hit as hard as FL?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is FL so much more punchy and this and
Yeah.
that? And I was just kind of like, why do you think that? And
Mm-hmm.
no one could really answer it. So I just, in my brain, I just started diving into the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I went so deep into it because that's just kind of how I am as a producer. Like, I go deep into the sound,
Mm-hmm.
deep into the feeling and the waveforms, and
Mm-hmm.
just like, what is it? Looking at the waveforms, why is it that FL sounds different than Ableton, if it does at all?
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a lot of realizations from that. One, I realized that what people are talking about partially is soft clipping.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the soft clipping, what it is when you drive a sound past the threshold of how loud audio can be, which is 0 decibels,
Mm-hmm.
it has an effect on the waveform. So soft clipping rounds out the peaks.
Mm-hmm.
Not to get overly technical, but what it sounds like when you have a kick that soft clips is it sounds warm, but
Mm-hmm.
hits hard.
Mm-hmm.
So that combination, hard clipping is a little more aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
So my sound was kind of born through a mixture of soft clipping and hard clipping.
Mm-hmm.
Ableton, by default, at least at that time, does not have a soft clipper
Yeah.
and does not have a hard clipper.
Mm-hmm.
But I figured out a trick in Ableton to kind of get that soft clipping sound to some extent. In Glue Compressor, there's a button that has soft clipping.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized that that was the most similar to FL Studio's plugin Soft Clipper.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would drive sounds into Glue, and I learned, okay, how do I make a kick drum from scratch? I learned you could do it through synthesis.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember exactly how I learned it, but I know there's like a bunch of stuff on YouTube. You can take something like an operator with a sine wave and use a pitch envelope. And if you do that, you can kind of emulate a kick drum. And then
Mm-hmm.
if you take that synthesized kick drum and layer it with something, you can make it whatever you want to make it.
Mm-hmm.
That mixed with soft clipping, you can get that hard hitting sound.
Mm-hmm.
So my sound design was born of synthesis with clipping.
Got you.
And that was the beginning. And then I got way more advanced and
Mm-hmm.
tried so many other things and recordings and, you know, SSLs and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that was how it was born, and also why I decided to make a plugin.
And that's exactly what I was going to get into next because you had the packs. I guess I have two questions to get into the plugin. Check out Knock, by the way. But so you drop this plugin, it's a hit, and it's basically it's kind of like a secret sauce. It's almost like the stuff you do to make your packs and stuff. It's probably like something like that in plugin form. And I guess I have two questions. One, obviously, like what was it that made you want to make a plugin? And then also, part of it is, do you see or did you see some kind of like shift in just the ecosystem of producers where it's like you need to make a plugin or it's time to make a plugin because maybe drum kits aren't, they get oversaturated and stuff like that. So now this is like the next thing.
Yeah. So I made Knock, right? And Knock is basically a plugin. Like when you put your drums through it, it makes your shit just hit hard. And going back to those early days, like with soft clipping and everything, FL has the soft clipper.
Mm-hmm.
Ableton has glue, which isn't quite the same as soft clipper, but you can kind of achieve that. But then there's all these other things like transient shaping and saturation that helps you dial it in. So
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to make one plugin that makes all DAWs playing field even. So you can
Mm-hmm.
make your drums knock in any DAW. So there's
Mm-hmm.
no more excuse, oh, FL Studio hits harder or
Mm-hmm.
Logic doesn't sound, whatever. None of that is a thing anymore because of Knock. So to get
Mm-hmm.
to your questions, it felt like time because number one, it was COVID, and I was thinking, how can I just level the playing field?
Mm-hmm.
And my goal was to make something where if you're a newbie producer and you just want to make your drums sound better with as few clicks and as easy workflow as possible, Knock is something you load up and just start dragging knobs.
Mm-hmm.
Super easy. You don't need to be a brain surgeon to use it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I wanted to make something that if you're like a top engineer and you work on hit records and you know your shit, this will just make your life easier.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to find that sweet spot between those 2 points.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how Knock was born.
Gotcha. And then did you see like just the ecosystem? Like I know because you're killing it on Splice, so I'm sure that's not as much of a factor. But just the fact that you've already made 10 drum kits. So is it like was that just like a next natural evolution because producers making their own plugins? It's a fairly new thing.
Yeah.
So was there anything else like some outs external sources that kind of pushed you into like okay no I really need to do this like even like business wise?
Yeah, because like after you make 10 drum kits, it's like, well, how many drum kits am I going to make? Like, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like how far will I go with it? And there's always more you can do. But really, I just wanted to challenge myself for like the next thing
Mm-hmm.
and do something that's truly useful. Because if it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, it was a business decision because I thought I could make something cool, but I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't want to put it out unless it was truly like something valuable. So
Mm-hmm.
I felt like Knock would be something truly valuable, and yeah, just moving forward with that was a risk also because making a drum kit it takes like very little investment,
Mm-hmm.
but making a plugin you have to put up tens of thousands, sometimes more money to
Mm-hmm.
do it. So it was a risk, and when I was doing it, I did not know. You can't possibly know if it's going to hit or not.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, Knock did hit, and
Mm-hmm.
it worked out. But you just never know.
Yeah.
So in retrospect, I'm happy I did it.
Mm-hmm.
But during the time, as with anything that we do,
Mm-hmm.
it's like it could work or it might not.
Mm-hmm.
So you never really know what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
Um, so it's a risk.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like my career has been taking risks,
Mm-hmm.
and that was just another risk. It was just a big risk, and it was actually not. It was probably the hardest thing I've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
Building a plugin. It's the unknown. You're entering into the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if it's going to be good. You don't know if your team's going to be able to execute it. You don't know even what exactly what the UI is going to look like and how it's
Mhm.
all going to function. And even like as I was going through the process of finishing the plugin,
Mhm.
like you get a version and it's going in the right direction, but then like you might turn a knob and it breaks,
Mm.
or you might do something else and there's clicks and pops,
Mhm.
and it's not as straightforward to fix as like an Ableton rack that you build, because it's
Yeah.
like this is all working with DSP and coding.
Mhm.
So that was some of the challenges, but really like in doing a plugin, my approach was I just tried to stay true to the vision of giving producers something to make their drums knock and to
Mhm.
make it professional, make it a clean, easy experience to use. So I think that's what pulled through the experience.
Mhm. Nice, dude. Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to get into like the branding and like the financial stuff too with just in music in general, because
Yeah.
you definitely clearly have done well for yourself over all these years. But before I get into that, um I guess my other question would be like, where is the music throughout this path? Like as far as the general path, because the general path is, oh, you make some beats, you try to get some placements, you do
Yeah.
this or that, and that's your career. Obviously, you went a different direction, did a little bit of both, but tell me how that other journey has been of just making music and putting stuff out over the course of having this very successful business as well.
Man, I love that question. And it's if I look back when I first started making music and to how my career is shaping up now, it's way different.
Mhm.
Because when I was a kid listening to Dr. Dre, Gangstar, 50 Cent,
Mhm.
Jay-Z, I always thought I would make beats and get placements with these artists, and that's how I will make a career in it. And
Mhm.
I've done that. I've gotten placements. I've done a bunch of stuff. But what I realize is the real fulfilling thing for me has been the brand building.
Mhm.
So musically, for the last 10 years, I've been releasing music under my name.
Mhm.
And everything I do that's rewarding has been under my name.
Mhm. Yeah.
And this is not for everyone. It might
Mhm.
be for DECAP and l.dre, because we've kind of made a name for ourselves and put our brand forward. So it's
Mhm.
like people are searching for l.dre. People are
Mhm.
searching for DECAP. So on Spotify, you're going to see my catalog under DECAP. It's
Mhm.
not under Jay-Z.
Mhm.
Do I have songs with major artists? Yeah. Do I have plaques? Yeah. But it like my thing and my bread and butter is DECAP.
Mhm.
That's the centerpiece. So I used to think DECAP was going to get placements with big artists to give DECAP credibility, but now
Mhm.
DECAP is the placement. People
Mm.
are
Bars.
people are
Bars.
coming to me, and so it's a different thing. If you build your brand as a producer and start thinking about yourself as the center point,
Mhm.
then you draw to you opportunities
Mhm.
instead of trying to seek and trying to grab opportunities. You
Mhm.
are the opportunity.
Mhm.
Think about how do you create an opportunity rather than how do you get. And I feel like that's what really works for me. Like when I also, releasing Drums That Knock, I'm serving producers. I'm
Mhm.
giving something so other producers can build an empire with
Mhm.
something I gave them, a little piece of my DNA, so
Mhm.
they could take that and build with it.
And now they can go get those placements
Th-
using your drums if
They
they
can
wanted
they
to.
can get the placements, they can
Mhm.
release their own music. I have, artists, it helps them build their sound identity because I give
Mhm.
them a little piece of what I do to
Mhm.
build what they do. And knock is just something that helps them again build their sonics.
Mhm.
And so my music, and I'm a musician first, like that's what I
Mhm.
started out doing, and I'm a musician and producer, so there's even more coming with that. But um, if you look at DECAP on Spotify, I have millions and millions of streams on instrumentals and collabs with artists,
Mhm.
and I've been on Billboard with no promotion.
Mhm.
It's all coming from the DECAP brand and the
Mhm.
ecosystem that I'm building. So I always encourage producers to think about themselves as a brand,
Mhm.
and getting placements is great, but as
Mhm.
part of your brand.
Mhm.
You're not solely contributing to something else. You're going in as a brand. And that's the way that I do it. There's no right or wrong, but that's people who are looking to do that usually come to me and ask me about like what I'm doing.
It's funny you mentioned that too, because I found you from Spotify. Like
Yeah.
my first ever introduction was DECAP, was your song This or That.
Dope.
And that was when I first started getting into just listening to instrumentals on Spotify. And I'm like, yo, this shit is hard. Like that was the
Thank
hardest
you,
beat I
man.
ever heard on Spotify. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
So that's interesting. Like you have this whole other thing going on that you're known for. And even like, I guess me too, just like as a producer in the space where we are brands, but ultimately I found you because of the music, which is just interesting. So I guess, yeah, talk about a little more about just like the branding. Cause I wouldn't say there's a versus, right? I wouldn't call it a versus, but there is kind of not even a stigma, but like when it comes to internet personality brands versus like industry producers, was there ever like a, I don't know, a grapple in your head like, oh, do I want to be like a drum kit guy, or do I want to be on YouTube, or do I want to be this or that, or do I want to be that dude that's like, I don't know, at the Grammys party or whatever, that, you know, they have that drip, that sauce, you know what I'm saying, whatever
Yeah.
they got, they kind of set themselves up in a different way, which, you know, now they are all now on Instagram and YouTube and shit now, but like you coming up, how did you see that?
I love that question because I've been in every one of those shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I've been the guy who has done tutorials on YouTube. I've been the guy that has gotten placements. I've been the guy at the Grammy parties with the drip. I've done all the things. So it's like when I look at it, I don't ever have to categorize myself in any of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe if I'm doing too much of one thing, it's time to switch to something else.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I'm doing too much of that, switch to something else. You always have the ability to create the career, the life, the image, the frequency, and the vibes that you want to create. Because it
Mm-hmm.
all starts with your mindset. And so, if for me, something that's more important than any of this business, any of this branding, anything that I've ever done is inner peace
Mm-hmm.
and my creative thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And just like every day we wake up, humans, we have the ability to think about how we want to build our life and build our
Mm-hmm.
day. And if you think about the situations you want to be in, and if you think about the lifestyle you want to live, and if you think about the goals you want to achieve and the situations you want to attract to you, if you do that over days, hours, weeks, months, years, decades, then the more you can stay in that frequency through maybe meditation or just eating well, exercise, whatever, taking care of yourself, the more you can attract to you these types of things that you want. So
Mm-hmm.
if you want to be the most like, crazy YouTube producer, internet personality, you can do that. If you want to be the guy at the Grammy parties with the drip, like you can do that. If
Mm-hmm.
you want to get the placements, you can do that. If you want to get the brand deals, you can do that. Anything you want, your career, no one can compare you to, like sometimes if I go live and I'll make
Mm-hmm.
a beat on a live stream, I'll get people saying, "Oh, you're kind of like this producer," or "That sounds like this." I ignore all of that
Mm-hmm.
because nobody can compare me to anyone. I'm a one of one. We're one of ones. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
no comparison to what we do. And any moment you can change the game and you can set a new trend. I've
Mm-hmm.
set trends over and over again because I just do what I want to do. Not, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not a flex, it's just I live authentic to what I want, or at least I try to.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say to anyone watching, don't ever let anybody box you in. Oh, you're just an internet thing. Oh, you're not doing the internet. Whatever you want to do, build your lane and do it. I
Mm-hmm.
can't give you the blueprint to what's going to work for you, but I'm doing it. So you can do it.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. That's a bar. That's a bar. Yeah. So would you say that as far as like, I don't know, the numbers of it all, let's say the streaming numbers or the views on YouTube, Instagram, comments, are you just like you've detached yourself from that kind of stuff, or has there ever been a point where like, I don't know, something's not performing and it's just like, how do you personally go through all that kind of stuff? Because me personally, I'm going through that every day. I try
Yeah.
my best, but at the end of the day, you post something or this or that. If it doesn't get a response, especially depending on how much you worked on it or this or that, it can get to you. So, is there like something you've done to just kind of like elevate yourself, and that's just like, oh, it's above me. Like I ain't worried about it.
Man, I posted something on Instagram maybe like a couple weeks ago, and it did so bad. And I was just like, did I just die on Instagram? Like, what happened? And then a couple days ago, I posted another post and it popped off. And
Hmm.
so I'm like, why is it that and that popped off? And so I guess like what I try to do is not get in my head around how things perform, because
Hmm.
sometimes things pop and sometimes they don't. Is there probably, you know, could I learn about the algorithm and all these things? Yeah, but I honestly, like, if I'm gonna be true, I try to stay out of that because it's something I cannot control.
Hmm.
I'm always thinking about how can I make better content, because I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm always
Hmm.
thinking how can I be better, and so I want to improve my content, improve my reach. But it honestly, if I'm gonna keep it real, it's out of my control. I
Hmm.
cannot I cannot guarantee that the algorithm is going to give me what I want, you know?
Hmm.
And so I think that where I try to put more of my energy is things that I can control. Like, for example, emails. Like,
Hmm.
you can control getting emails. So if you give away something for free and receive an email, that's yours. Like, you
Hmm.
own that. Your deliverability, it's not algorithmically controlled like Instagram or
Hmm.
TikTok. So, or YouTube. You know,
Hmm.
obviously, I want to do well on social platforms, but all I can do is show up
Yeah,
and
facts.
do my best to do something engaging and interesting. Do I always nail it? No.
Hmm.
But I think we're all in the same boat with that.
Yeah, true.
Some people are crushing it, and you know, the thing is, social media is a piece of DCAP. It's
Hmm.
one piece. It's not the whole picture.
Hmm.
And I think for people that are relying completely on social media, I think that that's risky. You want to
Hmm.
balance it so you have emails, ads, you know, content, in person, in real life,
Hmm.
like we're doing now. Like all this stuff, all of it has to be balanced. So I
Hmm.
try and, I guess, to answer your question, do I think about it? Of course. Like
Hmm.
I look at comments, I look at how my stuff is engaged with, but I try not to get too caught up with it.
Hmm. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I
Yep,
mean, that's all we can do. That's all we can do is just like
exactly.
try our best to not. But it's hard to for it to not get to you. But yeah, all right. So I kind of want to transition just like on to just like the longevity of it, because a lot of people will say, at least me growing up, you get an uncle or a grandpa that you say you're doing music, they're like, "Oh, you still doing your little music thing?" Or like, "There's no money in that. Like, you're gonna if you want to do that, you're gonna be broke. You need a plan B, all that kind of stuff." So, how have you like handled like just like the financials, the finances of it all, and just like also the longevity of it? Um, like, and you can start with, did you come from money, humble beginnings? And was it really the drum kit that started? And just like talk about that a little bit, like how money has like played a role in your life and your career.
Yeah, I mean, basically in my early days, you know, there was a time when I lived in Section 8 and I was
Hmm.
completely poor and, you know, even difficult to find money to get food to eat.
Hmm.
And so, you know, for me, I remember I did this course that kind of like, because I was really into mindset, spirituality, and, you
Hmm.
know, really trying to approach it in a positive way.
Hmm.
And I somewhere I think I felt it was possible. Um, but I had to start to change my beliefs around money.
Hmm.
Like, for example, like, um, one thing I was just talking with someone about this recently. If you're broke and you're an entrepreneur, and for example, making beats, don't try to pitch your beats to anyone until you're in a more abundant state of mind,
Hmm.
which is hard. It's
Hmm.
really hard to do because I remember being broke and needing to make money and connect with artists and sell beats to artists.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like sometimes reach out when I wasn't feeling so great or so positive or
Mm-hmm.
like I could make it happen. And that always leads to a negative outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I would do is get myself into a better frequency. I was a meditator, so I had the tools to do that, but it was
Mm-hmm.
hard. You have to get into a better state of mind before you reach out and make a sales pitch about a beat or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So things like that over time were tools that I learned. And I went to college and I had a business class where one of the assignments was to make a sale. And I had a network of artists that I knew. And so I would literally go on Messenger and sell beats. Send a pack. And that was actually, I used that for my class.
Nice.
And so the answer is no, I never had a handout or anything like that. And I'm self-made on
Mm-hmm.
this music stuff. And yeah, it's taken me a while to bring everything together between music releases, branding, sample packs, plug-in, all of it together. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's years and years and years and years of work, and there's no easy shortcut.
Mm-hmm. So would you say, like, as far as was there like a, okay, I dropped this drum kit and then let's say, all right, I'm making X amount and now I'm like up. Like, at what point, whether it's volume 3, 4, at what
Yeah.
point did you go from, just making ends meet to like, okay, we're kind of up now?
Man, the crazy thing is when I put out volume 3 and I was getting on an airplane, um, I don't like maybe to visit my family or something like that. And someone texted me, is like, bro, I just listened to this Niall Horan song,
Mm-hmm.
Slow Hands. And it had my shout in the beginning. And I was like, damn, I'm on
Mm-hmm.
like a hit record right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so once I started hearing my song on hit records, like that gave me something to talk about on social media. And
Mm-hmm.
I think people are like, oh, hit records are using this. And then people discovered me through my website, through Splice. And all of a sudden, these big producers started using my stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning, the viral thing that happened was, producers starting to use DTK. They're like, oh, this is a cool, unique sound. And it
Mm-hmm.
started to kind of infiltrate pop culture. And so that's when I started seeing the results financially
Mm-hmm.
matching that.
And was it like mind blowing? Like, was it like you go from this to like, all right, now I can, because I feel like a lot of people, I guess the smart thing would be is to have a 9 to 5,
Yeah.
and that will fund whatever you're doing. So do you feel like the drum kit series and stuff, was that something that just was able to give you that cushion to just like focus on music, or was it also kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, this is doing really well, like I should just go all in on this?
Yeah, I mean, the drum kit, it was like that unexpected viral thing. And
Mm-hmm.
so from that, I just doubled down and just kept
Mm-hmm.
going with it. I think the thing is, I don't want to just sit here and say I did really well financially with drum kits and you should do it too. Because
Mm.
I know like some people listening are like, should I just put out a drum kit?
And times have changed, bro.
It's different, man.
Mm-hmm.
I can't just like make it off of drum kits. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the reason why Drums That Knock did well is because I put it out. It was a viral moment, and it kind of changed the sonics out there. Like it
Mm-hmm.
just everything started becoming more knocking. So because of that, I was in a very unique place and a unique time that
Mm-hmm.
made it pop off
Mm-hmm.
through Splice, through my website. Um, but it was really just the right place, right time. And
Mm-hmm.
so, what I would say to anyone out there is focus on your right place, right time. What's happening now? How can you get
Mm-hmm.
ahead of the curve? How can you do something interesting? What kind of sound can you bring to the game? What can you do from a branding perspective that's unique and fresh?
Mm-hmm.
And like don't yell at me if it doesn't work because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the oracle. I don't know what's going to work for you, and I'm not a
Yeah.
guru, but
Mm-hmm.
I will say that it can happen. I did
Mm-hmm.
it. And
Mm-hmm.
so you just have to stay focused, and you know what? You might not be able to do it.
Mm-hmm. That's
You
facts.
might or you might not. And for me, I can tell you my experience, I had no plan B.
Mm-hmm.
I was in section 8. and I made it to where I am now in the hills, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I had no plan B except a love for music. I would
Mm-hmm.
say an entrepreneurial spirit. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's probably required too. Like you got
Mm-hmm.
to be a go-getter, whether you're getting play, if you're in the studio working with other producers and
Mm-hmm.
writers and artists and going for placements, you have to like you have to be a mover and shaker. You got to work hard. You have to
Mm-hmm.
do it. If you're, you know, more of a product maker, you have to market yourself. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you have to get it out there. Um, so there's no guarantees. And so
Mm-hmm.
9 to 5 might be required or might
Mm-hmm.
not. I personally didn't, but I wouldn't recommend that necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you say like because obviously it's just been a long time since then too, and a lot of people, myself included, where it's like when I first started making money, I was just like, damn, this is crazy. And every time something good would happen, I'd be grateful, but I'd also feel like this is it. So
Yeah.
like I just try to go and go and go because you never know when it's just gonna end. And even when things start slowing down, it's still one of those things where I just gotta keep going and going
Yeah.
and just trying new things, trying new things. Was there ever a moment for you where it's like things have been going well and maybe they started turning the other way? And then with that though, were you able to if you can, I know this is a production channel, but people need to know this too, when you were making x amount of money, did you invest it, did you like how did you set your today self up back then when, let's say, maybe there was a period where you were making the most or something like that? Like, talk to me a little bit about, I know that was like a sloppy ass question,
No,
but
that's a good question. I think like what you're saying is you're talking about the ebbs and flows. Like
mm-hmm.
I believe that life, and we were talking about this earlier,
Mm-hmm.
like the only constant is change.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a really common idea, but it's really true. I believe that success or inspiration or emotions all come in waves. You have
Mm-hmm.
good moments and you have bad moments. You have good days and bad days, good financial years and bad financial years. Um, you know, and I think that life is about trying to ride the wave,
Mm-hmm.
not freaking out when you're at a low
Mm-hmm.
and not over saying this is it or whatever when you're at a high,
Mm-hmm.
almost trying to find that center point and
Mm-hmm.
always trying to stay centered with the ups and downs and ebbs and flows of life.
Mm-hmm.
That's at least my approach. Like trying to ride the wave. Like if there's a lot of opportunities coming your way, like capitalizing,
Mm-hmm.
but not making it the end all be all, because sometimes you might have something come into your awareness that seems like a big deal and it's going to change your life and it doesn't even happen.
Yeah.
And so, one way to respond to that is be like, oh, why does this always happen to me? Oh, poor me, being
Mm-hmm.
a victim of the situation. So,
Yeah.
like, why does it always happen to me? Oh, poor me. You know, and if you do that, that will affect how you ride the wave. So, if you're
Mm-hmm.
always a victim, you're going to draw to you or find yourself in more situations where you're a victim.
Facts. Facts.
If you are always, like you said, grateful, then you're going to, I believe gratitude will draw to you better quality situations because you're always looking through the eyes of um, welcoming,
Mm-hmm.
gratitude, like good feelings. And I think that life is pretty simple in a way. It's emotional. If
Mm-hmm.
you have good feelings in a situation and positive energy, I think you
Mm-hmm.
draw to yourself better situations, positive situations. And guess what? We're all in control of our state of mind. That's one thing you control.
Mm-hmm.
So you control if you show up in a positive state of mind. You control if you show up in a negative state of mind. So if you focus more on good feelings, I think you
Mm-hmm.
draw to yourself good experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that will help riding the wave. So if you're in a moment maybe where things have taken a downturn, I think the tendency is to start to think, what's going on? Like you start to panic actually.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think what might actually be important, not to shut out those feelings, because I think we have to feel what's happening. That could be an indicator that something needs to change.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of freaking out, a full on freak out, it's almost like we have to take that as a cue to maybe giving ourselves some direction and
Mm-hmm.
like figuring out, okay, well, how can I change my situation to ride
Mm-hmm.
the wave better? Like also, this happens, I think, to all of us when we're faced with uncertainty,
Mm-hmm.
because that uncertainty, the way humans are wired, uncertainty brings panic
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, and change can bring panic. So we have to learn to ride those feelings of uncertainty and kind of almost trust in the unknown that it's going to work out because our heart and our mind is in the right place.
And what's more uncertain than a career in music? Am I
Tell
right?
me about it, man. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah, that's facts, dude.
Yeah.
That's facts. Yeah, I definitely think a lot of people appreciate that. And then also just like to touch on it a little bit, like can you just talk about like how you have prepared like financially?
Yeah.
Like is there anything that any gems that you've learned along the way about just like, I don't know, saving money, not blowing it like me for example. I've already bought like 2 cars and made some pretty bad financial decisions, but I've also made some good ones too. I've made some good ones. I'm done buying cars, I promise. But I don't know. But is there anything
Uh,
that you've done like, I don't know, are you frugal? Like how have you been able to just always manage and continue through those ebbs and flows and kind of set your future up?
yeah. I just want to say, I don't think you're as bad as you say you are.
I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not. It's just cars. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
the just
You
the,
like nice things,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
so
yeah,
do I. And I think, like, you have to have your, part of my motivation. Like, I put in all this work, so I want to enjoy it too. Like,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I want to get some things that I like. I want to live in a nice place. I want the equipment I want. But I think generally, and I'm a student of finances. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I care about managing my money in a way that's going to work for my longevity.
Mm-hmm.
Because being a producer, being an entrepreneur, you don't have necessarily all these security blankets of
Mm-hmm.
retirement handed to you, or all these things. You have to learn about it. You have to be smart with your taxes. You have to be smart with your savings,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to be literate with money if
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be an entrepreneur. So I care about investment. And so, a while ago, I started looking into, how do I invest my money the best way I can. I'm not saying I'm a financial expert, so I'll just
Mm-hmm.
tell you what I've learned and what I do,
Mm-hmm.
because I care about it, so I pay attention to it. One piece of advice in investing into stocks, for example, is the S&P 500 or the index fund. So I remember there was this book that I read a while ago that had me thinking, if you earn enough money, you can actually live off the interest.
Mm-hmm.
So this is way off of music production, but more into the money space. But I feel like it's something that motivated me from a financial standpoint. I thought about this. If I could make $100,000 and save that into a index fund that performs at 10% per year, which is pretty standard over time.
Mm-hmm.
If you have 100,000 in that index fund every year at 10% interest, you earn $10,000 profit.
Mm-hmm.
That's interest. If you save $1 million over time into this same fund, that's $100,000 per year in
Mm-hmm.
interest. So just by having $1 million in an account, you're getting 100K in interest every year. And you can, so think about how much you need to live off of. Maybe you need 400,000. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
If you put $4 million into an index fund at 10% per year, that's $400,000 in interest that you can live off of.
Mm-hmm.
So what I like about an index fund is it's a stable fund, only as stable as the stock
Mm-hmm.
market, but it's an algorithmic stock fund where they will cycle in and out different stocks to keep it
Mm-hmm.
stable. It's an algorithm. So that concept of, oh, if I could put $5 million into a index, then I will earn $500,000 in interest. If I can live off that comfortably, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
So that concept motivated me to save more. So it's like all the cars, all the jewelry, all the
Mm-hmm.
even extra equipment, and all the things became less interesting to me. And what became more interesting to me is setting up financial freedom. So
Mm-hmm.
think concepts like that, you know, will create financial freedom. Also investing in maybe a property, right? Or, you know, and getting something that you could Airbnb where people will pay you for the mortgage and you're just building equity. That's something that's always interested me also. I'm still like researching that side of the game, but you know, these are all things that if you care about financial literacy, you should definitely get into that.
Yeah, 100%. Big gem, big gem. Because yeah, that's just something I always think about, and I just like to talk about it in these videos because nobody else is.
Yeah.
Like the producer community is one of those. Nobody talks about money. Nobody talks about taxes. Nobody talks about any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, a lot of people don't make money. So there's that. But then also, when they do make money, they just, you know, a lot of people just kind of fuck it off, you know, or like they're just like they've been grinding so hard, they just want to have fun with it. But as we all know, it's a very volatile industry. So you guys got to set yourselves up for that success for sure.
Facts.
For sure. Yeah, I think that about wraps up the questions I had. Again, thank you for having me in this beautiful studio.
Thank you for being here, man.
Yeah, I guess I want to end it off on just like what are you up to next? I don't know if you can drop a bomb. Like, is there a new plugin coming, or what's next on the horizon for DECAP?
Yeah, so I am actively building my plugin company, and there's a rebrand happening. I have a new team I'm working with, and everything is going to be under the umbrella Knock Audio. So drums that knock, plugins that knock, all that is going to merge into something more simple, just Knock Audio. And there's going to be new packs. I won't give away too much, but new plugins, all of that.
Fire. All right, sounds good. Again, thanks for having me. Thanks for joining the channel. Everybody go follow my guy. I mean, you already follow DECAP, but if you for some reason you don't follow him, just Google DECAP. You'll find him. All right. Yeah, appreciate it, man.
Let's go. Appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
I am Barack Obama. I am Barack Obama.